Hello there, right here, and in today's video we're going to look at all the nitty-gritty changes that have been done to elytras and rockets and explain how all this will affect your survival world. Before we get into what we discover, make sure you guys are subscribed, as sometimes you can get unsubscribed without knowing. We got a lot of things to go over, so let's get started. We tested all sorts of different things and scenarios during my Twitch live stream, which I do every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So it used to be when you're just gliding, you would actually lose durability on your elytra as you're moving through the air. That has been completely changed with the newest 1.18 snapshot. Now you don't lose any durability while you're gliding, and you only lose durability if you shoot off a rocket. Every rocket you shoot loses 3 durability on a unenchanted elytra. And it doesn't matter what type of rocket you use, what durability it is, or even if it's one that has the player damaged afterwards and even puts off a crazy design. They will all do the same amount of durability to the elytra when used. Using rockets on the ground will have no effect on the elytra. Being in elytra mode while being in water or in lava will no longer use any durability up. So you don't have to worry about taking off your elytra when you go into water like this. Riptide can also be used with your elytra without losing any durability. This is amazing for you can get up nice and high and then you can slowly float downwards to your destination. But it only works if you're standing in water or if it's raining. So some well-placed water holes can let you float all about your world without having to have any enchantments on elytra or having to lose any durability on it. But rockets' convenience make them very useful to use, and if you are going to use them, it's best to use ones with the higher duration because they will actually send you further, but you are essentially still using one rocket, so you only lose some durability. So combining the duration 3 rockets and angling yourself around 40 degrees will get you the most height for that single rocket, taking you as high as almost 85 blocks. Now putting the Unbreaking 3 enchantment onto stuff usually makes it last 4 times as long. So with rockets, it will either will remove 1 durability, 0 durability, or 2 durability, instead of the normal 3 each time if you don't have enchantments on. Most commonly, it will just remove 1 durability. So now it's at 378 and we go ahead and go in time. 377 went down by 1. And rarely it will remove 2 off of it, and sometimes it will also remove 0 off of it. So if you're conservative with your rockets, you can make the durability of the elytra last a long time. And since the momentum that rockets give you has been reduced, there's no reason to constantly just spam rockets in order to get a massive boost and shoot you forward. But if you want to really use up your durability on your elytra, spamming rockets is the way to go. If you actually spam through them really quickly, you can actually make your elytra break in this version. So I got low durability, and if I launch a couple more rockets off, see I got 6 durability, and now I only have 3, and if I launch this last rocket off, it's actually going to remove all 3 durability at once, and I will fall from the sky. And besides potentially dying, you can actually break your elytra doing this. So if I just take off, you can see it actually breaks it. The elytra vanishes. This is probably a bug in the snapshot due to the fact that it removes 3 durability, and if there's only 3 durability left, it will take it all the way down to nothing, which will make it vanish. Where typically in the past, floating about with your elytra would only decrease it by 1, so never jump by so much and cause it to go all the way to nothing. We can see this if we use a elytra with Unbreaking. Now it'll only go down by 1 or 2, so we don't have to worry about having the elytra vanish. And if I go ahead and use the last rocket, you can see it will be degraded, but will be left at durability 1. We did test around to try to see if we can get durability 0, but it wasn't possible in survival, but you can still do it using commands. But if you do choose to go the unenchanted route, then if you want to repair it, you will have to use the Phantom Membranes, which by using 4 of them will give you a fully charged one. But you gotta be careful because if you do this several times, pretty soon the price will get so high that you won't be able to purchase repairs anymore. And you want to make sure to put mending on before that occurs. Now the real advantage to the new changes is when you find yourself up on top of a high platform and you want to get down low, and just by slapping on your elytra and gliding down, you'll use up no durability and you'll get down to a lower destination. But reality is that not too often will you find yourself on top of something very tall, but instead oftentimes you are down low and you want to get up high. And in which case your best choices are using rockets, or if you have water nearby, use a trident. Now typically you can get fireworks from duration 1 all the way to 3, and you can also choose to get firework stars added to them, which gives them their damaging explosions. But there is another type of firework, and these are the ones that typically you find in your creative menu, but you can't normally get in survival. But these rare collectibles were actually possible to get in survival in the past, or by using this NBT eraser trick. Now before they came out with rockets for boosting elytras, we used to use punch tube bows to extend the glide when you're flying about with them. Now they did later change it so that you can't put infinity and mending onto a bow at the same time, which was kind of to combat people using bow boosting with their elytras. But they later changed it to make it a lot more difficult to actually boost yourself in survival using a punch tube bow. Now we did attempt this on stream and I eventually did get one launch to occur, in which case it actually boosted me pretty far up. But since we didn't use any rockets, it didn't use any durability. But it was so difficult to do, I would not recommend it. Oh, I actually flew, but I didn't use any durability. Now besides bow boosting, there's other ways that you can also get boosted to fly, and one of them is that you can actually just bounce off the ground and you can slowly gain altitude. But once again, it's also kind of difficult to do. Elytra mode and your player gets a little bit smaller and you fall to the ground, you can actually use this to hop over fences, which are typically too tall to hop over. But besides that, there's also the 40-40 trick where you would want to glide going downwards around 40 degrees and then sharply go up exactly at 40 degrees as well, and then just keep repeating this, going down at 40 degrees, up 40 degrees, and you can actually keep this up infinitely where you lose no altitude and you actually lose no durability off your elytra now as well. So you can actually, in theory, fly forever using this trick. But the downsides to this is that you need to start off where you fall from a high height, and you need to be able to fall at a degree of 40 degrees, which is pretty sharp. So it has to be a pretty steep mountainside. And even then, if you don't perform this just right, you will find yourself losing altitude over time. And even the amount of time that you stay in each angle is very important. And I actually tried this quite a bit during the stream and I could not get it so that I was actually gaining altitude. I was always slowly losing altitude. It's a very cool trick to know about, but not really feasible in your survival world. You also have to be really precise and fast at moving between the two angles. And while you're moving, you're wasting a lot of time by going up and down instead of going forward straight to your destination. Now, when you are doing the 40-40 trick, make sure that you don't take any sharp turns because turning will really decrease your momentum. In the past, you could use this infinite elytra boost trick that I showed, but it no longer works. So the overall impact to survival is that you can fly a lot farther without having to repair your elytra. You will have to be more sparsely using of your rockets. That way you don't have to constantly repair your elytra, even if you do have mending as well as unbreaking. You also won't be able to get to destinations that are quite far as quickly since the speed has been reduced. Using elytra with a combination of nether portals is probably still the best way to get to a lot of your different areas across your world very quickly. But it does beg the question, will they come out with another transportation method in the future that is slightly worse than elytra? And that's the reason why they're kind of nerfing elytras to make them slower in order so that the new transportation method is at least somewhat viable. And that is something that could possibly come with 1.19 or maybe even part of the Deep Dark, maybe a block that teleports you a short distance. I also really hope that they come in and fix up minecarts, since minecart transportation could be so much more useful, especially when working down in the caves. There's also other secret tricks that you can still do with minecarts but aren't really used, which I cover in this video, including that you can actually connect minecarts together so they move as a big train. Or the new transportation method could come out with 1.19 and maybe even a new dimension to go along with it. Now, besides slowing down the rocket boosting to make other transportation methods more useful, the other reason they did this was to prevent players from just zipping through servers, making that the server get really laggy because it tries to generate or load more chunks than distance. We also noticed this on our testing streams where we have a server here and we test out the newest features. You can see how the game is struggling to load chunks in 1.18. But keep in mind they haven't actually addressed this problem yet for the 1.18 version, so the performance will get better. So with all of these new changes, what is the best way to fly with elytra now? So if you don't want to waste rockets or repair or enchant your elytra, the best thing to do is use a Riptide 3 and then angle yourself around 40 degrees and then take off in the air and activate your elytra. Once you get to the highest point, then you just want to slowly coast across. The best angle to actually fly at to get the most distance for your height is at about 15 degrees. So that you're slightly pointing upwards, and this will get you the optimal flying angle. Now eventually you'll get unbreaking as well as mending on your elytra, as well as a firework supply. It's best to use the duration 3 fireworks if you're trying to minimize the amount of damage done to elytra over time, but they do cost 2 more gunpowder per rocket. So if you're low on gunpowder, then just use duration 1. Now building like a specific platform to jump off of in order to get good height is probably not worthwhile. It might be worth it putting in some water pools around if you enjoyed using the Riptide 3 tridents. But otherwise just carry some paper as well as gunpowder around with you to make rockets. And if you're a really avid flyer, also carry some spare elytras so you don't have to keep repairing the same one over and over. You can get a whole bunch of broken ones and then repair them all at once. Alternatively, you could just use one elytra and then when it gets low, just go down and kill some mobs to get some XPs to repair back up using mending. And that way you don't need more than one elytra. Now, when I personally use rockets, I always felt like they were too fast in some scenarios. So with this nerf to rockets, it could help you move around more precisely. So if I just point straight up and I use the default rockets in 1.17, you can actually go pretty high. It went high as 35 blocks just with a single rocket, but it's a bit random. Sometimes you only go up a couple meters, sometimes you go up several meters. There I went to 102, meaning about 32 meters. Now if you do the same thing in 1.18, notice that I will make it about always around 9 meters high. It doesn't seem like you go much higher than that. There I went almost 30 meters up, but the average is around 9 meters. So it could help you just get up into like the next ledge above you. But overall, it doesn't seem like going upwards actually changed a lot. It's just mostly when trying to get maximum speed by spamming rockets while you're going horizontal. Now, despite the boost speed of rockets being nerfed, the actual glide speed has not. So if you point yourself downwards, you can pick up a lot of speed still. Let me know what you guys think of all these new changes, and as always, leave a like on the video because it really helps out. If you'd like to learn about more real glitches in the game, check out this playlist over here. And if you'd like to see how I made a farm for every item in the game Minecraft, check out this one over here. I would like to thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!